So I'll put the results here, but as of right now, I just poked myself in the eye.
I do make faces when you're actually recording.
You know, but all your good faces are when I'm not recording, I'm just setting up. But I have come here with an update, because I finished a book. I finished the one that was for the poll pick. Oh goodness, how do I do this without like blinding myself? Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the very last week of Bookoplathon. So it is a Friday. We are here to start the very last week of the Bookoplathon. I'm starting this vlog a little bit early just because we are heading really soon, like within the hour, up to see Chris's parents. We're doing some fun family stuff. We're going to a soccer game tomorrow. Like it's like a kid's soccer game. It's Chris's students are in it, so we're gonna go see that. And then we've got like a family thing on Sunday. So we're going up this weekend. So I thought I'd go ahead and start this vlog now. I have very ambitious plans because there's 4 books that I really want to get to, at least 5 honestly, but it's not going to happen. So we'll see what happens. But if you saw last week's vlog, you know that I'm bringing over Stupid Love Comedy, at least the first volume of that. I'm about halfway through that right now, so I've only got a couple more chapters left to go. But I'm going to leave this here because it's so thick. It's the bind up, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this at home instead of bringing it with me to read, even though I'm very interested in it and I want to keep going. It's unrealistic to bring this big chunk. So I won't get to this one until probably Monday, but I'm working from home a lot next week, or this upcoming week. So I think you'll see a lot more of my face. I'll probably get through this much, much quicker. So I'm going to not read this one right away. So I'm going to go ahead and do an extra roll. Now, I wouldn't want to do it normally until I finish this one, but we're breaking the rules, and I'm going to do an extra roll so that I have something to bring with me this weekend as to like what to read for this readathon. So let's do that really quick. All right, next roll. Let's see what we get here. Oh boy. Oh, a poll pick. Oh dear. Okay. So I actually obviously I pre-filmed that roll because we got poll. So I put up a poll of the 4 books that are left on my TBR that I really want to get to this last week, especially there's a couple of fall books that I really want to get to. So I'll put the final results here so that we'll know for sure, but as of right now, the one that is winning is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this one with me, and then if one of the other ones wins, I'll have it like on my Kindle or audiobook or something. But this is the one I'm going to bring with me because I think this one's going to win. It's winning right now, but like who knows. This is a book that I got in a fairy loot a long time ago, but like this is just like a perfect fall cover. It has to do with Seelie and Unseelie Fae. There's somewhat of a love triangle. It's a girl who's trying to get her sister got kidnapped by the Unseelie court, I believe. And so in order to get her back, the king basically sends her into the Seelie court and says, I need you to take this thing. And so in order to get into the Seelie court, she disguises herself as a suitor for that prince, and then I think she starts falling for the prince, and then there's also a rebel guy that she might be interested in. I'm hoping when I read this it'll make a lot more sense in my head, but that is the plan. I've heard if you like the Cruel Prince series that you will enjoy this one, or even if you like the ACOTAR series, I think some people say that you'll like this. So this is one of the books on my fall TBR that I would very much want to get to, so we're hoping to get to this one, so I'll bring this one with me, and if not, then I'll read other things. But that's the plan right now. Like I said, I'm working from home a lot next week. 3 days out of the 5 next week I'm at home. So lots of probably vlog footage for you guys. Hopefully a lot of reading. We'll see. But that's the plan for now. So I will talk to you when I have updates on something.
These skies have a different light. Why noise that keeps me up at night? I can't help but think back to you. I wish that I could find a face that I would recognize. I replay the memory of you. It's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. this time I promise it won't break. I'm hoping that things haven't changed. Life took us far apart, but it never took away my heart. Have you been holding it safe? 'Cause it's been hard. You know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home. I'm coming home. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause the cold air is calling and my head's recalling the moment that I was convinced. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause your lips are calling and my heart's recalling the way I could never resist. It's been so hard, but no, I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home to you.
Hello, it's Wednesday, and I'm here with a midweek update to tell you about some things that I have finished, because I have technically finished 2 things since I talked to you last, I think. I don't think I've updated you since the very beginning of this video. So I finished the very first volume of Stupid Love Comedy. I give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I loved the chemistry between the two of them. I really enjoyed seeing, like, the relationship grow, because we don't see a whole lot between the two of them as far as, like, a relationship goes, but it's, like, the kernels are there, you know? And honestly, I kind of just want to keep reading it. So this may get finished in, like, the next month, like probably sometime in October. We'll see, just as like something I can sneak in between bigger books and stuff. But like, I really enjoyed this, and I can't pinpoint quite why, because there's nothing like particularly spectacular about these 2 characters. There's nothing particularly spectacular about the plot itself, although there are bits and pieces in every chapter from like the editor's point of view, talking about the author of this book and how a lot of this book is like based on real stuff from the author's life, and like things that have happened to them and situations they have found themselves in. And some of the situations are so ridiculous but are based on real things, which is just kind of, it's just kind of cool. So I loved this. I thought this was so fun. If you like that kind of goofy, ridiculous rom-comminess and like a manga, then this is definitely something that you will enjoy. I like that there's only 3, so that you can get through them relatively quickly. Even though this is like a really chunky book, they're each relatively chunky for like single volumes, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to see where we go from here, because there are some exciting things happening as far as her manga goes, and like the manga that is being written by our main character here. But I'm just very excited to see the 2 of them grow in their relationship. So I ended up taking this one, as you saw, I ended up taking this one with me, because I brought a bigger bag than I anticipated, and so I took this one with me and finished it actually on Friday. So really enjoyed that. And then none of the weekend plans that we had planned actually happened. The family thing didn't happen because someone in the family wasn't feeling well, and then I didn't actually end up going with Chris to his soccer game. He went. He had a good time. So I didn't end up reading, well, I finished another book that's not for this vlog, but I didn't really read a whole lot that weekend, but the poll pick did come through, and it was not the book, I'm sure you guys saw that, but it ended up being Anatomy by Dana Schwartz, which I finished today on the way home. And I really enjoyed this. This one is getting 4.5 stars from me, and I am very interested in the sequel. The idea behind this is I thought for sure there was a fantasy twist to this book, and there's not. It's pure historical fiction. I mean, there's parts of it that you could say could potentially be a fantasy twist, but it's all like science-based and logical. But this book follows the main character, Hazel, and she is the daughter of a viscount's daughter, I think is what it is. And so her dad is off in the war. It's during the time of Napoleon, and so her dad is an officer off at war, and her mom is just kind of trying to hold down the fort. Her older brother has recently passed. There's this thing going around called the Roman fever. It's like the red fever. It's just another plague that's kind of going around. And he passes away because of that, and so the mom is very stuck in grief, and so all of her love goes towards her youngest kid, named Percy, and so Hazel's just kind of like left to do her own thing. And so she really enjoyed going into her dad's library and finding all of these science textbooks. And so she finds one based on this Dr. Beechman, and it's like an anatomy textbook. And so she gets really fascinated with anatomy and like science and stuff like that. She's betrothed to, well, not officially betrothed, but she's like kind of engaged to her cousin. And they all think that they're going to get together. He's the future Viscount. So like, all of that fun stuff. But she ends up going to a lecture, tries to get into a class, and ends up making a pact with Dr. Beechman's like great grandson or something, his current living descendant. And they make a pact, and he's like, no, I think women should be able to do that, but like I can't add you to the class, but I will let you take the test. And so she ends up trying to like study on her own to take this like anatomy test to get her into like basically be able to become a surgeon. And throughout the process of this, she runs into this guy named Jack, who is a grave robber, I guess is the best way to describe it. Basically, he digs up graves, steals the bodies, and like sells them to anatomy students and people at the Edinburgh Society, and like basically for people to like study. And they all know it's like very suspicious and like not the best practice, but as long as you leave all of the personal belongings from said person, including any kind of clothes or anything they're wearing, and just take the body, then it's not a felony. So he's a grave robber, and they like strike up a pact. Basically, is he's gonna help her, he's gonna bring her bodies for her to study so that she can pass this test. Many other things happen, but it's really the two of them. And there's a lot with this book. I feel like this was very interesting. Halfway through the book, I felt like not a lot had happened. Like I was very invested in what was going on, but plot-wise, not a lot had happened. And the first half like flew by really quickly. And I thought I'd only been like maybe a third. And then the last half was like jam-packed with stuff. The one thing that I really enjoyed about this book is how realistic it is, because the author did like a ton of research into science, medical science, anything like historical around this time period in Edinburgh, to the point of like, there's a little bit at the end of the audiobook where she and the narrator of this book kind of like have a conversation about it. I can't remember what it's called, but like, there's like this Hawthorne Castle or something like that where Hazel lives, like that's her home in Edinburgh, and it's actually a real place that has been transformed into like a writing retreat. So Dana Swartz actually was there writing this book in the castle where she said it. So it was really cool that she was talking about that kind of stuff. So it was very realistic. Everything that happened in this book felt like it could actually logically happen in today's world, or at least in this time period, because Jack is of a lesser class in this society than Hazel is. There's a lot of conversation between the two of them. There's a lot of stuff that happens that like different class situations that I think is really interesting. And like I said, everything in here is realistic to a point. There's a couple of things near the end that I was like, is that realistic? But like, it's all based in science, which I found really interesting. So I really enjoyed it. I will say, trigger warnings if you have any sort of medical things, because this does not shy away from the descriptions. Like, it's not particularly gory. I mean, there is gonna be blood and stuff like that, because like, it's literally this girl digging into bodies to learn about them and like watching surgeries and things like that. And so like, it's not the most pleasant thing to read about, but because it's from such a scientific perspective, it's not as descriptive, and so it's not as bad. I mean, it's still not great. So again, be just wary of that, because there's a lot in here, especially with her like just studying all these bodies. But it's very like I said, scientific. So it's not descriptive. It doesn't go into, like, you can't really, I mean, you can picture what's going on, but like the author does it in a way where it makes sense for Hazel. Like, she's going to be looking at how the surgeon is doing what he's doing rather than like what is physically happening to the body, or like she's going to go about being like, oh, that's the heart, that's the pancreas, and kind of thinking about stuff like that rather than, oh, that's a bleeding heart that's spurting blood everywhere. Like, it's not going to be like that. So there's just, be wary, because there's, especially near the end, I only got like really grossed out at one point, and it was near the end. So there is a few things that like isn't great, so maybe like don't read this while you're eating, but it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I very much enjoyed this book. I'm very excited about the second one that's coming out. I looked into it now that I finished the first one, kind of to see what it's about, and it's going to take on like a royal aspect to it, and I'm very interested in that. So definitely will have to get my hands on that one when it comes out. But I just loved Hazel. She's so like headstrong, and there's just a lot about her, like I said, that like feels realistic for the time period, because yes, she is very much a modern woman. She thinks that she should be in science when most men do not agree that women should be in science. She wants to have her own opinion. She wants to do her own things, but she still has that question of like, should she get married or not? Because society dictates that like she should get married because like that's what women do. And so she's struggling against the fact that like she wants to be a surgeon, but she also feels like she needs to be a wife. And so it's all of like that conversation of like, she's modern, but she's modern for her time. And I really enjoyed that. So I loved Hazel as a character. I thought she was fantastic. And I'm so glad I read this. This was so good. But that means we have 2 days left in the month, and I think I could squeeze in one more book. So let's do a final roll. What I hope will be the very last roll. We ended on poll. It's not going to stay, but right there, poll. So let's see. Oh boy. Okay. So here, 1, 2, 3. Ooh, letters. We got letters. Okay, so this one is letters on the cover, which I feel like you could technically like fit anything you wanted to for this one, but I'm thinking of like the cover is like the title is really big on the cover. So I've got another book that I want to read this fall, and that is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. I was able to fit this one in because I think it's mostly like there is other stuff on here, but like the letters are very, very big, and like her author's name is big, and there's like a tagline and stuff. So I'm gonna count this as my letters page. I think I described this one a little bit earlier in this vlog, so I'm not going to go much into detail about this, but it is a book about like Seelie and Unseelie court, and this girl basically like trying to sneak her way into one court to save her sister from the other court. So all fae, all fun stuff like that. Heard great things about it. So we're going to start this one maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow at work, but I'm at home on Friday, so the very last day of this vlog I will be at home. So we'll see if I'm able to fit this in. It's not crazy big as far as books go, and it is very loose, so like the font is relatively bigger. It's only about 430 in pages, so not ideal for like a very final book, but I think because I have the audiobook, I'll be able to finish this in a couple of days. Hopefully, we'll see. So hoping to start this one tonight, and I will come back to you when I have either finished or I need to wrap up this vlog. But I'm excited. I was able to get my other like big fall book from my TBR onto this one.
These skies have a different light, white noise that keeps me up at night. I can't help but think back to you. I wish that I could find a face that I would recognize. I replay the memory of you. It's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's time home with you, but I'm coming home. Hold on to my embrace, this time I promise it won't break. I'm hoping that things haven't changed. Life took us far apart, but it never took away my heart. Have you been holding it been hard. You know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait? 'Cause I've been counting the days, and I'm calling up to say I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. And I know that it's hard with you, but I'm coming home. I'm coming home. We'll stay up till morning and head out exploring, make up for months that we've missed. 'Cause the cold air is calling and my head's recalling the moment that I was convinced. We'll stay
Hello.
up till morning.
I have changed because I just filmed, but I thought I would come here and wrap up the vlog. I don't know why I said it that way, because there's no way, there's just no way I'm gonna finish this book today, but I've made some decent progress. So I would say about 40%, 45% of the way through, so like not quite half, but like not too terribly far from it. And I'm really enjoying it. Like, this book is very interesting. It's exactly what it sounds like. The world is much rougher than I anticipated, which is not surprising for fantasy books, but like the fact this is a YA book is a little surprising to me, just because like this set in this world where like it's just rough. Like, everybody is either, there are these contracts that like are very binding, and like the Fae is bad, and contracts can be binding, and a lot of people like actually like sell themselves into like slavery, specifically like sexual slavery, and like that is not something you would expect to really read much about. And like, oh, well, I guess YA is, you know, this is probably a little bit higher YA, but there's just a couple of things that are very rough about this world. But as far as like what this is about, it's pretty much what I've been telling you. We follow main character Bree. She is struggling. It's her and her sister. They're really struggling. Their mother ran away with a Fae person. So when they were like 9 years before the story starts, and they've survived a fire when they were younger, which I feel like is going to be important later on in the story because they keep bringing it up. And so they survived this fire, and the mom has left them with her brother, and then said brother dies, and his wife basically like creates a contract with the two of them and her, and like basically like, I'll take care of you if you pay me this much every month, and then every month they don't pay it, she adds more onto the end of it, and the contract just keeps getting worse and worse. And so like she's taking care of them, but it's very much like a Cinderella situation of like they live in the basement, it's her and her two daughters, and like they take advantage of these girls and like treat them like slaves basically. And so it's rough, but this mom, or this aunt, I mean, she basically like decides this is ridiculous and sells the younger daughter to the Unseelie Fae King, because she's like, I'm gonna cut my losses. And she goes, so I sold your sister, so you're free, go do whatever you want with your life. And she's like, no, but wait, that's no. And so she goes after her sister and strikes up a bargain with that king. It's basically like she's going to the Seelie court to get 3 Unseelie items that were there and bring them back to the king, and the king will let her sister go. And it's supposed to bring like equilibrium to the Seelie versus Unseelie court, but in order to do that, she has to pretend to be a possible what's the word I'm looking for? Like, she wants to marry the prince, basically. There's a bunch of women who've come over to like put the suitors, I guess, to put their names in to marry the prince. And so it's Prince Ronan, and then she also runs into an Unseelie like rebel of sorts, who are also helping her out. And so like she's kind of torn back and forth between the two of them. I'm liking it so far. Like, the first chapter, I read the very first chapter on like Wednesday night, I think, and I was just like, I'm not loving this. Like, the world's real rough and I'm just not really feeling it. And then within like the next 2 chapters I was hooked. So I'm very much enjoying this one. I'm definitely going to keep reading it. So this will probably be the very first book that I finish in October, because I'm probably going to get through a bunch of this. I still have to put up Halloween decorations, maybe not Halloween, but fall decorations. I haven't done that yet. So I've got plenty of things that I can do to have that like in my ear, and still listen to it because I do have it on audio. So like I've got options to keep reading it. So like it's definitely gonna get finished probably with this weekend. Honestly, it's probably gonna get finished this weekend sometime, but it's just not gonna get finished for this vlog, unfortunately. All in all, I was able to do 7 rolls and finish 7 books and like half of one. So very, I think pretty productive month as far as like the rolls go. I did fit some other things in between those books, but as far as like my rolls go, I was able to get 7 completed, which is very nice. I love doing this. It's really fun. I might bring it out every once in a while if I'm feeling like I need a mood read or something like that. So yeah, that's really what I've got for you guys. So I hope that you enjoyed this vlog, the very last vlog of Bookoplathon this month. Please let me know down below how you did this month, if you participated, or just how you did in your reading for September. I'd love to know how you did, and let me know all your thoughts, or if you've read any of the books that I mentioned in this vlog or previous vlogs, let me know your thoughts on those. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well as other fun bookish links, so don't forget to check all that out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!